It's story time. And this is an extra special story because there's a lot of dialogue in this story, so I have an extra special friend helping me out with one of the characters. So, take a minute to get extremely comfortable. Blanket forts, the whole bit, all the cushions in your house in a pile, please. And while you are retrieving cushions and putting them in a pile, I'm going to tell you that this podcast and these stories are supported by patrons. So, if you like these stories and you would like bonus stories and also my undying thanks, you can receive those and find out more about all of how that works on patreon.com/can I tell you a story. That's patreon.com/can I tell you a story. And now, I hope that you are low-key buried in the most enormous pile of cushions that you could manage to muster up. It's time for a story.
Sift the sands of time in a big enough sieve, and what do you get? The future, that's what.
The fire cracks and pops, throwing sparks towards the stars like it can feel the affinity between them. The desert night is cold, all rolling dunes and stillness. There is no wind. Is that so? We're living in a time circle. Feels more like a pyramid to me, upside down, pointed right at the crown of my head. The weight of time keeps getting heavier. My neck's getting shorter. Every week.
You tried hanging upside down?
Tried drinking.
Bad for you, that. Rot your liver.
Oh, I've got no liver. I got a silver fish where other folks keep their livers.
True.
True. I got a fish in my belly, and I've never even seen the sea.
Kind of like the sea here. All this sand got waves in it. The wind makes them. Bunches up the dunes like that soft stuff, silk.
I had a silk dress once. It wasn't soft. It was scratchy under the arms.
True? What happened to it?
I went to a ball in it. I left it on a hedge, and I went home in my knickers.
Meet a prince, did you?
Nah. Fell in a pond. 2 silhouettes cast long black shadows in the desert, contemplating a fire that burns without fuel. Cold backs and warm fronts. Side by side, they speak into the flickering light, not into each other's faces. Words fizz and pop between them, transferring meaning from mind to mind. You ever seen the sea?
One time I saw it. A lot of water in it.
Bigger than a pond, then.
Salty, too. I licked it. And it has tides. Goes in and out. The moon does that bit. It's like they're dancing.
I like dancing. There's a pause, a lull in the conversation in the cold night air. Was that a laugh in the darkness, or the lifting of a midnight wind? The women don't notice, or they don't care. Warm faces, cold backs. Outside of consensual reality, they construct their own. Here, that fire. It's not burning anything. There's no wood. How does that work? Are you magic now?
Nah. Did a deal with a fire spirit once. Gave him more than he bargained for. The offering wanted to go, and she went willing. So, his gratitude says that I will never be cold.
True. You tricked someone who wanted to be tricked. That was tricky of you. Are you going to tell me the rest? The silence turns expectant, stretches out, thinner and thinner. The midnight wind twists on itself and turns back, pulling puffs of sand from the dunes that shimmer in the firelight as they fall. Is it listening, the wind? Does it linger? The silence stretches further, so thin it breaks. And there's no longer 2 silhouettes by the fire, but one, alone, throwing a single dark shadow into the night. Cold back, warm face, grinning, expectant, wonder-filled. surrounded by bees. The bees rush the midnight wind. The wind pulls back, quietens. The hum rises and falls, louder, spinning, buzzing, living, an intensity of shapes, pulling up their own small puffs of sand as they twist in the desert darkness, coalescing into the shape of a woman again, two silhouettes throwing black shadows into the night. Now, that's a sight to see. You bees now.
True. I got to be the swarm. We're swarming now, somewhere new, somewhere away. That town? Too small for me and the bees both. You know what they called me? Crazy bee woman. Look at me sideways like I don't have eyes to notice. Like I don't have a whole swarm of eyes to notice. Their looks getting pointy. Don't need to tell you what happens when looks start getting pointy. They start seeing things that aren't real. Start seeing threats and feeling afraid. Then it's bad for the ones getting looked at. They came at me looking for the power they gave me, wanting it back. It was only ever their own fear and prejudice that made me something to jump at in the night. Stop looking at me with the wrong eyes, and that power evaporates like dew in the morning.
Truth. A moment of silence and empathy in the desert. The laughing wind returns, cackles and twists behind them, stirring the folded sand. You got a queen bee in there then?
Me? I'm the queen bee.
You're the queen and all the bees.
True. Queen bee made of all the bees. People think life is made of either or, but mostly it's both. If people made more room for ambiguity in places, things would be a lot more comfy. I'm the queen and all the bees. I contain a multitude.
Though, in fairness, you are a crazy bee woman. The midnight wind flows back, pulls up a tower of sand like a dust devil, and then there's three figures in the night. The fire spirit's offering, the girl who went willingly, back once more in the desert darkness. Once more she's wanting. She's in trouble she can't fix. Not all crazy, though.
Not all crazy. You want something. You're in trouble you can't fix. I've seen you out there, loitering, listening. I see that mad look in your eyes. Something's stopping you and you don't like it. Something's in your way and you can't shift it. You left with the spirit and he's not here, but you were the offering. You went willingly. You're still tied to him until he says otherwise. Tells me you put him somewhere and can't get him back.
The newcomer who was the wind is defiance and determination. Chin lifted, jaw set. Doesn't say anything. Doesn't have to. Cackling splits the tension, crowding thick around the fire. The woman with the fish in her belly hoots and hollers, tips on her back, kicking her feet in the air. One with a sock on and one without. Parody of hilarity and all the more funny for being genuine. I bet I know where he is. Oh, let me guess first. Where would you put a fire spirit to prove that you could? Bottom of the ocean, that's where. You look tricky. I bet you tricked him into a bottle and threw him in the sea. All that water. What's spirit made of flames to do? Sink. That's what. Oh, I bet he's mad. I bet he's seething. I bet he's trying to boil the ocean. But there's nothing to be done. He's stuck there now. And you stuck too, because your freedom is tied to his hands. His hands, what are at the bottom of the sea. The newcomer watches, frowning, knowing enough to stay quiet if she wants the help she needs. For a moment. Words push themselves out between her lips, visible as steam in the cold air, before they evaporate into nothing.
Are you going to help or not?
Yeah, We helpin'. Be like a holiday. She there can air the bees. And I always wanted to see the sea, me fish will like it. Come on then. No point in hanging around. 3 figures, stumbling through the shifting, starlit sand. The desert is quiet, swallowing sound.
Why have you only got one sock? Leave the other one in a hedge, did you?
Nah, that foot's private.
Fair. So, you with the spirit trouble, you know the rules. Nothing for nothing. What's it worth to you, us fishing your fire spirit out of the sea?
Well, I think it's worth everything she has. Her freedom is tied to his hands, so without his freedom, she'll never be free to follow her own whims. That's my price. We free him, his gratitude gives us her. I'd be used to someone like her. Trying to be clever, but falling into reckless, she agrees. The bee woman bends time, sifting the desert sands with her hands as they pass. They walk for days, and it remains full night, stars high and cold, wheeling in the indigo sky. At the top of a dune, they stop. The desert ends. Is that the sea?
Yeah.
It's bigger than a pond.
Yeah. Well?
Closer to home than it's ever been, the silver fish roils and twists. The fishwoman puts a hand on her belly to comfort herself, already feeling subsumed. The pull to lose herself in salt water pulsing like a tide of its own. The bee woman smiles, witness to a new beginning. The water is cold, salty and forgiving, closing over the silver fish like the end of days. It feels like forever. It feels like breath. It feels like reverent devotion to unknowable mystery. The fish jumps, and the woman is gone with it. The depths take them. The bee woman and the spirit offering stand on the shore, toes at the edge of the outgoing tide, and they wait. Words fall out of mouths and land on the sand between them.
Get what you wanted then? Going willing?
Yes.
And you're still wanting.
Yes. Her eyes shine with thirst. She can never know enough. When she's learned all she can from one mind, she'll find a way to another. The ocean erupts. Column of flame punches through the sky, a roar too loud to hear. On the shore is the girl, defiant and vulnerable, and beautiful with it, willful. The bee woman is quiet, every joint in her body relaxed and easy as she looks up into the face of the fire spirit.
Hello again. Seems you owe me for your freedom. How about I take this nice offering here? Whatever else you have to give me.
The fire spirit laughs, and his laughter makes the surface of the ocean shimmer and shift in unusual waves. He knows, she knows, he never turns his back on a bargain made. The favour is hers to call. Lightning forks the sky purple, and by the time the stars reappear, he's gone. The ocean coughs up a silver, scaled figure who lies in the wet sand, grinning at the stars. The salts on her face could be tears. She's laughing again. 3 silhouettes cast long black shadows on the shore, contemplating a fire that burns without fuel, cold backs and warm faces under a sky full of stars. The ocean murmurs, a moment of silence between the outgoing and the incoming tide.
Sand. Wherever we go, always sand. All up in the everything.
That makes sense. Connects time, doesn't it? You said it. Sift enough of the sands of time and where are we? Future. That's where. The newest arrival to the fireside, her face is hungry, like she's starved for secrets, though she's been gorging on them since she left her old life and walked into this one. Her freedom resting now in the bee woman's hands.
You gone to the future now?
Why not? lots of oceans in the future. You coming?
Yeah, we're coming.
The stars are cold and high and fading. The fire that burns without fuel dwindling, untended, with the slow coming of the dawn. I hope that you enjoyed this story in your massive pile of pillows. Thank you for listening to it. If you did enjoy it and you want more of them, perhaps you'd like to become a patron. Patrons receive bonus stories and my undying thanks and more things, which you can find out about in patreon.com/Can I Tell You a Story. Until next time, wander out into the desert and sift the sands of time and see if you end up in the future.